All right, get ready because today we are going deep, really deep. We're talking lost continents, ancient civilizations, and maybe even aliens. We're diving into the theories of Tom T. Moore and his fascinating ideas about Atlantis and Lemuria.
Wait, what?
You know, what I find really interesting about Moore is how he gets his information. He's not like some archaeologist digging through ruins or trying to translate ancient texts. He claims to get his knowledge directly through telepathy.
Yeah, it's like Professor X from X-Men, but instead of reading minds, he's downloading history from Gaia, his guardian angel, Theo, and even an alien named Antura. Talk about an interesting research team, right?
Definitely makes his work unique, and it's definitely sparked some debate. So are we ready to dive in? You've got some great stuff from Weiwat's, the W Files blog and YouTube channel where Moore talks about all of this.
Perfect. And just so our listeners know, we're going to focus on Moore's theories about Atlantis and Lemuria as he explains them in these sources. Okay, Atlantis. Moore describes a civilization that would make even Tony Stark jealous. We're talking advanced technology, flying machines, and an energy source that makes our use of fossil fuels look like something from the Stone Age.
Yeah, Moore claims Atlantis was a technological powerhouse, and it was all powered by giant crystals. And these weren't just pretty rocks, they provided free energy for the entire continent. Can you imagine if all you had to do to charge your Tesla was park it next to a giant crystal? We wouldn't have to worry about gas prices anymore.
Sign me up for that. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, was it? All this technology must have had a downside, a little like, the Galactic Empire in Star Wars with their Death Star that could blow up planets.
Unfortunately, yeah. Moore says that Atlanteans developed weapons from this crystal energy too. We're talking lasers, sonic weapons, things that could probably make a Klingon nervous. It seems like no matter how advanced a civilization gets, they can't resist the allure of power, and sadly, the potential for destruction that comes with it.
A classic case of, with great power comes great responsibility. But even Spider-Man probably couldn't have stopped what Moore describes as the downfall of Atlantis. He says there were two major cataclysmic events that make the destruction of Pompeii look like a parking lot fender bender.
Yeah, we're talking total disaster here. The first cataclysm, according to Moore, was around 30,000 years ago. He talks about a chain of supervolcanoes erupting along the mid-Atlantic ridge, causing most of Atlantis to sink into the ocean.
It's like something out of that movie The Day After Tomorrow, but happening all over the world. Giant tsunamis destroying coastlines and changing the shape of continents. And the result? Sea levels rose by an incredible 160 feet. Say goodbye to all those fancy beachfront properties.
It's hard to even imagine the impact of something like that. And this was just the first part of the end for Atlantis. A few islands managed to survive, including Poseidon and Erin, which became the new centers of power for the remaining Atlanteans. But it didn't last long.
Because, like any good story, there's always a sequel. About 12,500 years ago, war broke out between Poseidon and Erin, each island fighting for control. And Moore says this wasn't just a small fight, it was a massive battle using all their advanced weapons. The result? Both islands sank, and the sea level rose another 41 feet.
Adding insult to injury, right? And Moore even connects this to the biblical story of Noah's Ark. He suggests that the sinking of these Atlantean islands was part of that global flood story. It's like he's trying to fit these ancient myths and legends into his theory.
Wow. So far, we've got a technologically advanced civilization, a story of power and destruction, and a possible connection to one of the oldest stories in human history. It's like Star Wars meets Waterworld with a little Indiana Jones thrown in. But before we get totally lost in the world of Atlantis, let's switch gears and talk about Lemuria. Moore portrays it as the opposite of Atlantis.
While Atlantis was all about technology and external power, Lemuria seems to have been more focused on peace and spirituality. Think Avatar, not Terminator. It was located in the Pacific Ocean, and according to Moore, they lived in harmony for thousands of years.
So more Fern Gully than Game of Thrones, huh? Definitely a different vibe. But even Paradise has an expiration date, I guess.
Sadly, yes. Moore explains that even in Lemuria, conflicts arose. He believes that warring factions emerged in their last 1,000 years, and this eventually led to their destruction about 7,500 years ago. And here's where things get really interesting. Moore claims that he actually lived a past life in Lemuria. And not just any life, he was a religious leader.
Whoa, that's a lot of past life baggage to carry. It's like finding out you were the captain of the Titanic in a previous life. Okay, so we've got lost continents, advanced technology, massive disasters, and now reincarnation. I have to admit, I'm hooked. What about you? Are you buying into Moore's story so far?
I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely intrigued by how he connects ancient myths, modern-day experiences, and his own personal story. It's a unique perspective that makes you think outside the box of conventional history.
Absolutely. But before we go any further down this rabbit hole, let's take a break and let our listeners catch up. We've covered a lot: Atlantis, Lemuria, supervolcanoes, and past lives. What stands out to you so far? What questions are popping up in your mind? We'll be right back to explore more of Moore's theories and see what we can learn from these lost civilizations, even if they only exist in our imaginations.
Wait, what?
And we're back. Hope everyone's ready for round two, because we're about to go even deeper into the fascinating world of Tom T. Moore, picking up right where we left off.
Yeah. Just finished talking about Atlantis and how it went from super advanced to, well, underwater in a matter of a few thousand years. Supervolcanoes and wars will do that, I guess. But before we move on completely, let's circle back to Lemuria. Moore's description of how they lived is super interesting.
It's like reading a sci-fi book, except he's claiming it's real history. Imagine a world where technology and spirituality are like totally intertwined, no iPhones or Facebook, they just talk to each other with their minds.
Whoa, that's like something straight out of Dune or Star Trek. No more awkward silences or misinterpreting texts. Just pure thought-to-thought communication.
Exactly. And their technology, it was totally different from anything we have. They used crystals for everything: energy, healing, travel, you name it. It's like ancient wisdom mixed with futuristic technology.
Okay, so picture this. You're walking through a Lemurian city. Buildings made of glowing crystals, beautiful music in the air, and everyone communicating telepathically. Like a mix of Avatar and Wakanda with a little Jetsons flair. Sounds pretty ideal, right?
Definitely paints a picture of a society that lived in harmony with nature and focused on inner peace. But even in this paradise, conflict eventually emerged. Moore believes different groups formed, and this ultimately led to their downfall. It kind of reminds you that no civilization, no matter how advanced, is immune to human nature, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like the classic story of Paradise Lost. But what caused these conflicts in Lemuria? Were they fighting over land, power, or something else entirely? It would be fascinating to understand what led to their downfall, especially with Moore's personal connection to it.
From what Moore says, the conflicts were about how to use their technology. Some wanted to use it for spiritual growth and evolution, while others saw it as a way to gain power and control. It's kind of like the debates we have today about AI and genetic engineering. Some things never change, huh?
You're right. It's like we're always struggling with how to balance progress and responsibility, power and ethics. But let's get back to Moore's claim about his past life in Lemuria. He was a religious leader, right? That adds a whole new layer to this story.
Yeah, he says he was a high-ranking priest or some kind of spiritual leader, and that he was involved in decisions that led to their downfall. And get this, he even believes his wife in this lifetime was an Egyptian princess who helped him lead 25,000 Atlanteans to safety before Atlantis was destroyed. Talk about a soulmate connection that goes beyond lifetimes.
Wow, that's an amazing story. It's like Outlander, but with a historical twist that blows your mind. Okay, so let's recap. We've got Atlantis, a technologically advanced civilization that's self-destructed. We've got Lemuria, a spiritually advanced civilization that couldn't overcome internal conflicts. And we've got Moore, claiming to have played a part in both their downfalls. It's like a cosmic soap opera.
It makes you think about history repeating itself. Like, are we doomed to make the same mistakes? But there's also a positive side to Moore's story. The idea that we can learn from these lost civilizations and choose a better path.
Which brings us to his concept of requesting benevolent outcomes, or MBOs, right? It's like having a direct line to the universe and asking for the best possible outcome.
Exactly. It's about aligning yourself with the good and trusting that the universe will work with you to achieve what you want. Moore claims he's used MBOs for all sorts of things in his life, from finding parking spots to even influencing the path of tornadoes.
That's some serious manifestation skills. It's like the secret meets the force. Honestly, who wouldn't want a little help from the universe sometimes? Imagine nailing that job interview or avoiding traffic, all thanks to an MBO.
It's a cool idea, and it fits with things like positive thinking and the law of attraction. But even Moore says MBOs aren't about controlling the universe. It's about working with a higher purpose and trusting the natural flow of things.
So it's not about getting everything you want, but about handling life's challenges gracefully and intentionally, maybe with a little cosmic boost along the way. I like that. But going back to these lost civilizations, what kind of evidence does Moore have to back up his claims? Is it all based on his telepathic communication, or are there any physical clues that suggest Atlantis and Lemuria actually existed?
Good question, and it comes up a lot when people talk about Moore's theories. While most of his information comes from his telepathic experiences, he also points to certain archaeological discoveries and ancient texts that hint at the possibility of advanced civilizations existing in prehistoric times.
Like what? Give us some examples. I'm ready for some Indiana Jones level mystery.
Well, he often talks about the Bimini Road in the Bahamas. It's a submerged rock formation that some people believe is part of an ancient road or wall. There's also the Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Japan. It's a massive underwater structure that some researchers think could be man-made. And then there are ancient texts like the Hindu Vedas and the Mayan Popol Vuh, which both have stories about floods and lost continents.
It's like trying to put together a giant puzzle, with each piece adding more mystery and intrigue. But even with these clues, the existence of Atlantis and Lemuria is still up for debate.
Right. For now, yeah. The scientific community is still skeptical, and there's no definitive proof to confirm Moore's claims. But that doesn't mean we should completely ignore them. After all, lots of scientific discoveries were once thought to be crazy ideas. Think about Galileo and his idea that the Earth revolves around the sun.
That's true. Sometimes the most outlandish theories end up being true. Even if Atlantis and Lemuria are just stories, they offer a powerful way to think about our own civilization, our relationship with technology, and our potential for both good and bad.
I think that's one of the main points of Moore's work, the idea that history isn't just facts and dates. It's a reflection of who we are as humans, our successes and failures, our dreams and fears. And maybe by exploring these lost civilizations, even if they're just myths, we can learn more about ourselves and the challenges we face today.
That's a great point. We've covered so much. The rise and fall of Atlantis and Lemuria, the possibility of reincarnation, and the power of requesting benevolent outcomes. It's like a crash course in alternative history and spirituality.
And there's still more to come. In our final segment, we'll look into Moore's claims about extraterrestrial contact and his vision for the future of humanity. Stick with us.
Wait, what?
And we're back for the final leg of our deep dive into the world of Tom T. Moore. We've talked about lost continents, ancient civilizations, reincarnation, even how to maybe get a little help from the universe to find a parking spot.
Right. From the amazing technology of Atlantis to the spiritual harmony of Lemuria, it's been quite a journey. But hold on tight, because Moore's story takes us even further out there. We're going into the realm of extraterrestrial contact.
Wait a minute, aliens, are we talking like close encounters of the Tom T. Moore kind? This just got a whole lot more interesting. Tell me everything.
Moore says he regularly communicates with an extraterrestrial named Antura, and not just any alien. Antura is supposedly part of a team that's observing Earth. They're on a mothership somewhere out there. It's like a scene from Star Trek or Arrival. But Moore says it's real, part of his whole story.
Okay, this is wild. So what's Antura like? Is he a little green guy with an antenna? Or more like E.T. just trying to phone home?
Well, Moore describes Antura as an amphibian being from a water planet in the Sirius B star system. He says Antura is wise and benevolent with incredible knowledge about the universe. Imagine a combination of Yoda and Aquaman, but with a consciousness that's been around for thousands of years.
Okay, I'm picturing a cool space frog with a trident and Jedi wisdom. What kind of information is Antura sharing with Moore? Is it advanced technology, secrets of the universe, or maybe winning lottery numbers?
Moore claims Antura has told him all sorts of things about alien civilizations, how humans came to be, even what's in store for our planet in the future. He says Earth is like a big experiment, a special place where souls come to learn, face challenges, and evolve to a higher level of consciousness. It's almost as if we're all in a giant cosmic video game, leveling up our souls and trying to reach our full potential.
Wow, that is mind-blowing. It's like The Matrix meets Interstellar, with a dash of The Sims thrown in. So if we're all part of this cosmic experiment, what are these extraterrestrials doing? Just watching us from a distance? Or are they helping us along the way?
Moore believes they are playing a part in our development, offering guidance and support when we need it, but he also emphasizes that they respect our free will. We get to make our own choices. Think of them like those wise mentors in stories like Gandalf or Dumbledore. They offer advice and steer us in the right direction, but they don't interfere directly.
So like our intergalactic guardian angels watching over us and hoping we don't mess everything up. That's kind of a comforting thought. Let's come back down to Earth for a minute. Whether or not you believe in the alien part of the story, Moore's ideas are really interesting and make you think.
I agree. His theories about Atlantis and Lemuria, even if they're just theories, they force us to look at history in a new way. The idea that civilizations rise and fall, that humans have the power to create and destroy, and that it's important to live with a higher purpose in mind.
And the whole idea of requesting benevolent outcomes, whether it's cosmic power or just positive thinking, it can help us deal with challenges and create the reality we want. It's about taking responsibility for our actions and working towards a future we can be proud of.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Tom Timur, his theories about lost continents, reincarnation, and alien contact, we want to leave you with a question. What resonated with you the most? Were you fascinated by the possibility of ancient civilizations? Did the idea of reincarnation spark your curiosity? Or maybe the concept of shaping your destiny through benevolent outcomes got you thinking?
Whatever it was that sparked your interest, keep exploring these ideas, keep asking questions, keep searching for answers. The journey of discovery is just as important as the destination itself. And who knows, maybe somewhere out there Antura is watching, hoping we unlock our full potential as a species.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of the universe, both inside and outside ourselves.
Wait, what?